Hey YouTube, it's Mike the Backyard Pioneer coming to you today with a benchtop review of the Benchmade 940. This knife was a grail of mine for quite some time. I was finally able to track one down in the secondary market. It's just beautiful. Definitely a futuristic looking design. You're never going to mistake this for a buck 110. For those sci-fi fans, I would say it has a little bit of a Klingon-esque kind of look to it, but that's just me. Lightning fast, awesome in the hand. It was a collaboration between Warren Osborne, who recently passed away, which kind of made me want to do a review on an Osborne design knife. He did a couple of them with Benchmade. I'm going to roll in another one a little bit later. This one was released late in 2000. It's been a staple of the Benchmark lineup ever since. And you can see why. It's just beautiful. Premium steel, premium handles, fast in the hand, axis lock. I don't know what else you need in a knife. Let's talk a little bit about the stats on this one. This one you're getting a blade length of 3.4 inches. Let's pop that open so you can see that. A blade thickness, this is where I think it's pretty awesome because it is really thin. Less than 1/8 of an inch, 0.115. That's ridiculous. This thing makes an excellent slicer. I tend to like full flat grinds, but even not having that, just the thinness of this blade makes it cut really, really well. Open 7.87 inches, which is just shy of 8 inches, which is funny because this does not seem like that big of a knife. I mean, almost 3.5 inches. That's right in the sweet spot for EDC for me, if you ask. I generally like my blades, like, say, between like 3 and 4 inches. Anything over that, I think it's taking up a little bit too much real estate in my pocket. I'll carry it for goofs, but it's not something that you're going to find there long term. You got a closed on this of just shy of 4.5 inches, 4.47 inches. So it really disappears in the pocket. It's something, if you have it, it's going to be in your EDC rotation without a doubt. And where I think it really shines is a weight of 2.97 ounces. That is as light as it comes for an EDC knife. That's definitely in that sweet spot for me, and I'm going to give that a big F yeah. That's where I think it truly shines. The ergonomics on this thing, it's comfortable in a variety of grips. You can see it's got some jimping. For style points, it's got the titanium backspacer there. It's anodized with a little bit jimping on it. Speaking of the jimping, it's got a decent amount. It's not overly jimped. I had a Spyderco Manix 2 that I actually passed on because it was just way too over the top for me. One thing I did notice playing with it for a while is the thumb studs. This was actually pointed out to me by a non-knife guy. I like to, when I get to work, I get a new knife, I pass it around, let the gang say ooh and ah. They were having a bit of a problem getting it to fire out with just the thumb studs. So I think a little maybe possible reliefs are in order. Another Osborne design blade that I said I was going to roll in is the Contigo. Also big blade, you'll see very similar family, but it has a bit of a relief there around the thumb stud, which just makes it a little more accessible. It's a minor sticking point. It's nowhere close to being a deal breaker for me. I love this knife. I guess you can tell already I'm kind of gushing. The blade, let's see, it's a reverse Tanto design. I like it. Traditionalists may poo-poo it, but it gives you a decent amount of thickness up by the tip, so you hopefully, you're not supposed to pry with these things anyway, but a little more tip strength there if you need it. It also is supposed to put the tip in line with the pivot, which is supposed to be more stabbing power. It's been a while since I shanked anybody, so I really can't speak too well of that, but it's supposedly one of the design features. I just kind of like it for the looks. It's just pretty badass. S30V steel, which is premium steel. Was a collaboration between Chris Reeves of Sebenza fame and Crucible Industries. It's supposed to put the carbides more in an even layer in the steel matrix, which is supposed to give you superior toughness and wear resistance. I can see it. I carry this at work a lot, so it cuts a lot of wet sandy rope stuff I have to do during my normal day, and I find the S30V really holds up to that very well. The one sticking point I have on it, I find it exceedingly hard to sharpen. Not a deal breaker, but it's going to need a session with a sharp maker or something like that. I have a hard time getting it done in the field. I carry a little ceramic rod with me where I touch it up, but if I lose it, it has to come home. I know someone's going to say, oh, I can get it done with an Arkansas stone and spit. Good for you. I can't. Let's move on with our lives. Just another note, this knife always didn't come in S30V. It used to come in 154 cm. It's also been available in a couple of other steels over its life. The higher end 940-1, which has the carbon fiber scales, you can get that with S90V. I hear it's a great steel. I don't have much experience with it. You can also get it in M4, which I love, but that comes on the gold class, which is going to cost you upwards of 600 bucks. This is a blue class. When they say class, the box. So blue class is like their regular knives. Black class is the tactical. The Contigo I rolled in was a black one. And then they have the gold class, which is their fancy schmancy. You can also get a 20V on some of the limited models. The lock, it's the axis lock. Not much you can say about that hasn't been said. You can see that little bar just travels when it's pulled back, loosey-goosey. It does give you the option of snapping it out just using the axis lock. I think it's classic. I think it's wicked cool, as my buddy Dan over at Suburban Stead would say. I think everyone should have one of these in their collection. Carrying it, like I said, with the weight, it's so light, it's a joy to have in your pocket. Clip-wise, you're only getting tip-up carry, which isn't a deal breaker for me. There's a lot of stuff that's not a deal breaker for me with this knife. Left or right, you can't really go tip down because it would interfere with the axis lock. Just something I'd figure I'd mention. Joy to have in your pocket, lightning fast. Under hard use for me, getting a little bit beat up. I don't know if you can see it. We'll get in close there. Camera, yeah. See, it's. I mean, aside from the clip, getting just some marks on the anodizing. And I love this thing, so I'm wondering if it's exactly for everyday carry for alignment. Possibly switching up to aftermarket G10 scales, or maybe the carbon fiber scales, stepping up to a 940-1. I find this thing's beautiful. I really like it. I have pride and ownership with it, so I don't want to kick its ass. So, you know, I'll have to decide. The painted product clip takes a beating, but you come to expect that. But the anodizing and the gouging on the aluminum is bothering me a little bit. Not enough not to own it. Like I said, you know, you might find this in my pocket then on the weekends or after work, not necessarily work carry. And it's not that you can't expect performance out of the knife. It's really just really cosmetic. This thing would take a licking and keep on ticking. So that leads me to what do I think it's for. To me, this is more of an upscale EDC, after work EDC, gentleman's tactical. You know, so I would definitely say that's an upscale EDC kind of knife. It's a sexy knife. There's no other way to say it. So you might want to consider that if you're looking at it, depending on what you do. If you have a hard use job, you know, it might get a little beat up more than you're used to. If you're working in an office, you're probably never going to encounter that. A couple different options, peers, I would say, of this knife. One of these I think might surprise you a little bit. The Spyderco Endura 4, the full flat grind. It's a third of the price. Similar capabilities. You know, if you look, you're getting blades that are very, very similar in size, which is surprising because this looks like a much smaller knife, where this looks pretty gargantuan, but the blades are pretty much the same. VG10 isn't S30V, but what really is. But for what it is, 30, you can have one of these in every color. You know, put them in rotation, keep them as backups. Great knife. I've had this for a long time. I'll be doing a tabletop review on it. Another one, I'm going to roll another Spyderco in here. This I think is a true peer. This is the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Getting the S30V, getting the full flat grind, which I really like, and you're getting a premium lock, premium handle material, not the fiberglass reinforced nylon that you're getting with the Endura 4, and you're getting definitely a step up from the back lock of the Endura. So that's just a couple different options. Something else from the Benchmade line that you might find a little surprising for me to show, but we saw it already in the video, is the Contigo. Looking at them together, you can see the family resemblance. You're getting the reverse Tanto. For the same price as the 940, you get the Contigo. You're getting the G10 handles. You know, you're not getting the beauty, I guess, of the aluminum. You're getting a lot of traction on this. You're getting the carbide tip break, window breaker. You're also getting the premium M4 steel and the DLC, the diamond-like coating. So you're getting similar ergonomics, tougher, bigger. You know, it's held up better. I've carried this just as much, and it's just a beast. You can see a little bit of chipping on the blade back there, but that was me. I was cutting something at work, and I didn't realize it had a piece of copper in it. It went through it, but it's something I'm going to have to touch up. Maybe even send it back to Benchmade to take care of their, take advantage of their Life Sharp stuff. And again, you can also see that bit with the thumb relief that you get in there on the Contigo that you don't have on the 940. So none of those knives I said are as elegant as this. This is just a beautiful knife. You know, it's sweet. Recap, it's beautiful, it's capable, well designed. The aluminum handle's getting a little beat up, but that's just me. If you work in a different kind of setting, it might be a different story. If you lightning fast, I just cannot believe, even just a little flick, that thing flies out. And you also have the option of deploying it like that with the axis lock if you want. So for me, it might be better suited for after work carry. That's about it. I would get one of these. I'm going to throw a link. They're available on Amazon. Like I said, I found mine on the secondary market. But I'm going to throw up the link in the show notes for it. So if you're thinking about buying one, go buy one from my link. Support the project I got going on here, the YouTube channel, and my blog and Facebook. Greatly appreciated. If you'd like, I'd always love, likes. Thumbs up are great. Shares are awesome. Love comments too. All right. Got to work on my spelling a little bit. And subscribe. That's the big one. That helps me get some stuff. All right. Take care, YouTube. Hope you enjoyed my review. Keep an eye out. I'll be doing more of these in the future.